Welcome back to Press Here. We're going to talk about tea, you know, the stuff you drink. And I was thinking, that's a strange departure for this show. And then I realized, actually, we've talked about tea and coffee several times, including the CEO of Honest Tea, there on the left, and the founder of Blue Bottle Coffee, there on the right, to which we will add Christine Wheeler, creator of Drazil Tea, tea for kids. Now, Drazil is the word lizard spelled backwards, which is why there is a lizard on the packaging. You may have seen these in Whole Foods or Lunardi's or Draker's. Tea for 2-year-olds. Christine Wheeler is the mother of 4. She said she wanted to find a low-sugar alternative for her kids. Now, she's also a former executive at Procter & Gamble, so I'm not totally sure I'm buying this whole kitchen sink startup story, but for a moment, I will allow you your startup story. We've all stood at the kitchen sink and said, you know, my grandmother's pasta sauce is so good I can be a millionaire. Or everybody loves my barbecue sauce. I ought to bottle it. How hard is that?
It's actually very hard. I mean, that's the one thing I learned is I had this idea, and you know, as a new entrepreneur, you're just so full of passion and excitement, and then you start it and you realize all the, everything you have to go through it. And I think
what's the tough one? Where's it most hard?
I think it's just, I mean, the most important thing an entrepreneur needs to have is tenacity, because you really don't know what's going to come up. I mean, I thought, you know, having a co-packer, everything will run smoothly because you have a formula, you have a co-packer, but that doesn't happen. I mean, things come up. Like, for example, we had a industrial tea kettle put into our co-packer, and then we're all ready to produce, and they said, you know, we want to retrofit that, and that's going to take a few months, and we had to delay everything.
Explain co-packer. Obviously, it's a factory.
Co-packer is a manufacturer, but it's a manufacturer that we don't own.
Gotcha. You contract out. You say, here's the formula for the tea.
Exactly.
Make this.
Right. And the whole industry does that. Coke does it. Nestle does it. They all use co-packers. So.
How have you marketed this product? Like, how have you made people aware of it, and just the concept in general of like children's tea?
Well, you know, and that's the biggest concern you have when you launch a new product is how is it going to get noticed? And so for us, you know, because our product was sold at the grocery stores, we said our package has got to look great. And because a lot of grocery store items, you know, that decision is made at the shelf. So we focused a lot on creating an amazing package that would really pop out. And so that was, you know, one of the most important things to start with. And then, of course,
but Christine, you have to get in the grocery store first, though, right? I mean, how you know, I'm still trying to bottle my pasta sauce, and I can't even get, okay, I got my co-packer. How do I get into the grocery store?
Well, you have to have a unique idea, obviously, and it has to meet a need. I mean, that's a really important thing. And you have to do your homework first, so that when you do present to the buyer, they're like, oh, yeah, I could use that. But then it's really hard. I mean, it's a little bit easier to get into mom and pop stores, but the volume's not there. So you really want to focus on the larger stores, and you hire a broker and salesperson, and you just really do your thing. But it takes a long time. I mean, it was at the trade show a year ago in March that I met a buyer for a big retailer. And we then had our first meeting in May, a second meeting in August, and we just found out this week we got accepted, but the product won't be on shelf till next March. So that is 1 full year of when I first made contact with that retailer.
Can we say what shelf it's going to be on?
Safeway.
Wow.
Starting in March.
Wow.
Yep.
The packaging is interesting. It looks like a juice box. Well, it is a juice box.
It is a juice box.
And it's a nice alternative. Like, you think you have 4 kids, we have 4 kids. It's like the idea of, like, after soccer or something, you give them something like that. And what does it taste like? I mean, there's no
interesting. It tastes actually more like juice. And one of the things that, because our formula is actually 54% herbal tea and 46% fruit juice, and we heard from consumers, oh, moms want a lot of low sugar, but when we found out when we were doing taste tests, we couldn't go too low in the natural sugars. So it was a good balance that we had to find. So it does taste more like juice.
My understanding of, say, the Berkeley soda tax is that if it's pure fruit juice, it's not taxed because it's fruit juice. I mean, nature can't help it. But once you start changing it, it is. Would you be in the Berkeley soda tax?
No, because we're just natural sugars. We have no added sugar in our product.
But even if you adapt to the fruit juice itself, it doesn't change the way that's taxed?
No.
How do you feel about a soda tax, just in general? And I say soda, I mean...
It's okay for me because... I mean, the important thing about that is you want people to be choosing healthier products. That's why I was interested in a tea product for kids, because I thought, down the road, my kids will start drinking tea and not go for the soda or for the energy drink. And that was important to me. I mean, I'm a big tea drinker, and that's how I got started on this whole thing, is choose something that's healthier.
Do you have a tech element in how you market or distribute? I mean, is there, because this is a tech show, I guess.
Yes, I know.
But I mean, is there like some, yeah, that's right. But is there some sort of tech element, like online?
We do. We have social media that we do. But no, I mean, I'm
Because you're
not very
dealing
tech.
with-
You did
Yeah.
hire
Yes.
bloggers recently,
We
and you were
did.
very upfront.
Yes,
You hired
yes.
them. I mean,
We
you
hired
followed all the good
bloggers,
rules.
and
How'd that work out for you?
It worked out great. We got great reviews, and you never know when you do that if they're going to review you well or not. So that worked out really well. And we're hiring a company called Swaggable, and they're doing the same thing where they're providing free samples to people, and they do a review. So
And
that's
you're
working really well.
moms and not kids, right? So that
We
makes
are,
it a little bit.
we are.
Or
To-
fathers too, I should say.
Exactly, of course, because it's at that that age group, the parents are still making a decision.
Although
But
I'm
when
gonna
the
throw
kids
in-
are in the grocery store, they're
I
saying,
was
"Mom,
going to say
I
the
want it."
lizard is not there
So
for the moms.
That helps.
Yeah, the lizard is there. Tell me about the name. I mean,
It was really important for me when I started that it would be a memorable package. And when you think of Nike, what do you think?
The swoosh, yeah.
Exactly. So I thought, well, when people hear the word Drazil, I want them to think of something concrete. And we thought of a lizard and Drazil spelled backwards. It just all worked. And of course, you have to check: is the name taken?
Right.
Does it bring up anything bad on the internet? So we had to go through that whole
Hadn't thought of that,
process.
yes.
And then we had to hire an illustrator. We found an illustrator in England that did our character for us. But it's a process.
Is there something in which you learned from P&G that apply particularly well? Obviously, bringing consumer products to market do.
Right.
But is there something that, as a former Procter & Gamble executive, you said, I'm so glad I know this before I get started?
I learned all the fundamentals about business at Procter & Gamble, but the most important thing, it was all centered around the consumer. And so, you looked at the consumer, like pricing through the consumer's eyes, everything, just, how you bring a product to market, what the packaging is going to say. So it's all based on the consumer. And even the tiniest insight that you get from a consumer could make a big difference in the market and when you advertise it. So, it was a great fundamental training.
And what, as a small consumer, did not pay? I mean, what, as a small consumer, did your experience at Procter & Gamble, you learned that's nothing?
I'm sorry. What,
Well, what was, maybe it was badly phrased, the idea that what didn't apply very well?
At Procter, I don't have, as an entrepreneur, I don't have the resources that Procter does. So I can't look at the IRI data. I don't have a department that just does my forecasting for me.
Well, until Procter & Gamble
But-
buys you.
Well, poker.
Christine Wheeler, founder of Drazil Tea, thank you for being
thank
with
you.
us this morning. Press will be back in just a minute.